going on, everybody? Welcome to Best Ball Brunch. Joey, what's on the docket for today? Where are we drafting?
We're drafting a $20 drafters best ball entry. There's only 10,382 entries out of about 55,000 total. So it's on pace to overlay by quite a bit. So we're going to be taking some more shots into this. If you're watching this on YouTube as a replay, which a lot of our viewers are, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the stream, comment, and turn on the notifications so you never miss another stream. We have the same schedule for the next month or so in terms of podcasts and streams, but that's going to change come football season. So make sure you're tuned into that, and we'll announce that in a month or so. But how are you doing, Ben? How's everybody watching doing?
Yeah, we got some people in here, man. Hope everyone's just ready to have a good, nice vibe on this Sunday afternoon. That's what I'm feeling.
We need one more for the draft to start.
One more.
So
who wants
if you're
to
not
be the
in,
lucky person?
Yeah, if you're not in, you can come draft with us. Zach's, he's alive. Yep, that's how we're feeling. That's how we're feeling, especially Ben.
Barely.
How was your night, Ben? I saw you were at like a little concert or something.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, bro. It was just like an emo cover night. I went with some people after work. Somehow ended up not getting home till like 5 a.m. So
Eric doing good. Good to hear. Good to hear. All right, so draft is starting. Couple Discord members in here. I see Houston, Zach. And what do you know? I have the 11th pick, Justin Herzig. Shout out to Herzig. He's in this. I wonder if he's actually drafting though, or if he's autoing. I know he sometimes sets his stuff to auto draft.
Bro, how am I going to be sandwiched in between Houston and Zach? I'm not getting anybody I want.
Yeah, you're getting sniped. You're getting sniped.
I'm in the middle of a sharp sandwich. It's bullshit.
Yeah, and I have a best ball mania winner at the turn in front of me for one of my picks. So this is Herzig is in this one. Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting draft. Last stream, if you watched, my team was not the best, so I'm gonna try and do a little bit better today. So gonna be interesting, and of course, I am at the end of the draft. I think if you go and look back at all the streams that we've done over the last 2 or 3 months, I think 90% of the streams I'm at the 109 to the 112.
Yeah, bro, that's your territory.
That is my territory. So you would think that I know how the draft goes and I should be drafting monsters every time, but that just was not the case last week.
Yeah, well, at least I don't know, man. Herzig, see if he's just as good as he is on Underdog. I haven't done too many drafts with them on drafters.
Yeah, I mean he's only done 28 or so. I mean,
he's probably too wealthy to bother with the 222. That's peasant shit to him.
Hey, I mean, he's a grinder. Shout out to Justin.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a sharp. I watch his streams that he's been doing with some of the other big creators in the industry on the ETR YouTube channel, and you could learn a lot just from watching, other sharp people.
No doubt. Is Pound Town about to get autoed? Pretty interesting. Christian McCaffrey this week made the official switch to 101. It was writing was kind of on the wall with that, but it is now official.
Yeah. If you go on this YouTube feed, you can see a video that we put up about Christian McCaffrey being the 101 and Justin Jefferson goes as the first wide receiver, which we both have him as. But on a full PPR site like Drafters or DraftKings, I think Christian McCaffrey is the correct 101. Like, we're not in the business of trying to predict injuries at one of the most injury-prone positions. And did you see the article about the quote from Matt Rule saying, like, we're going to run CMC like he's a running back. We're going to give him work. Like, they understand that running backs get hurt, and his upside is just so crazy, man.
Bro, the quote is, I think we're all thinking about Christian one way only, and that's attack. That's a bar. That's a bar by Matt Rule. I'm gonna go Eckler here.
That's a bar. Yeah, I mean, just he averaged 30 points per game in his, record-breaking fantasy season, 160 more points or so than the second best fantasy running back last year in the 3 games. He averaged 29 PPR points per game. He's just an absolute difference maker at the position when he's healthy. And in full PPR, I think he is the correct 101.
Makes sense to me. What are you going to be doing here? What kind of draft are you about to have? How are you going to kick this off?
See, I think the 111, you can go a lot of ways. I think you could go 0 RB and kind of get yourself a Devontae Adams, CeeDee Lamb start. I could go double RB and get myself a Derrick Henry, DeAndre Swift, or Mixon start. So we'll see who Back Queen takes here, who has 120 drafts in this. A low-key whale.
Yeah, you might be in between a couple sharps yourself there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and take CeeDee Lamb over Devontae Adams. That's not a surprise. I think I did that last stream as well. That is not a surprise if you have been watching or have been listening to the podcast.
I made that move too. I put him up.
See, and it's like when you listen to other people's content, I know that ETR is a little bit lower on Najee Harris. So I know like I could potentially get Najee. Oh, he took him, but
I mean, blessing in disguise with Swift.
Yeah, I love a Lamb and DeAndre Swift start. And I think I started like this last week too. So we got to try and get a little bit different for the rest of the draft. All right.
I got to be very careful right now about saying what I want to do with my picks.
Nah, they won't snipe you.
Oh yeah, no. They would never. I guess I'm just going to go with Aaron Jones. Give me 2 running backs who are going to finish in the top 3 at in terms of receiving this year on a full PPR site.
I mean, you can't have in my opinion, a better start than, an Eckler and Aaron Jones build.
And now we just hammer receiver for like 6 straight rounds. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah. You're getting 2 of the highest upside running backs, in my opinion, in terms of the receiving game in the entire NFL. These are 2 guys that will contend for the most receiving touchdowns at the position, the most catches, and if they stay healthy, they're both probably going to smash. So the 7th spot, the 6th, 7th spot is usually that range where you can get 2 of those guys like, Austin Eckler and Aaron Jones, and Zach went Delvin Cook and Saquon Barkley. I kind of like going that route from the mid rounds, and then from the 3rd round on, it sets yourself up perfectly to just hammer these high upside wide receivers like Mike Williams, DJ Moore, Cortland Sutton, et cetera, Allen Robinson. So I definitely like those builds out of the mid round selections, but I think having a top 4 or top 5 pick is probably where I want to be at, especially in redraft coming up.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I really hope that I get like top 4 for our redraft leagues.
There's just a clear-cut tier break.
Yeah,
I think so.
I mean, I wouldn't be
Jamar
upset
Chase,
if I
in my
got
opinion.
Chase. Yeah, Chase. So
like Chase and Eckler are good, obviously, but I think there is a tier break after that in terms of redraft. So who are you looking at right here as your wide receiver 1? I mean, you got a couple options that should fall.
Yeah, I mean, it'll either be Pittman or Keenan here for me, depending on what direction Houston goes. goes Pittman, makes the choice for me. I'll go Keenan, and that'll have me looking at Herbert at pick 42 with the Eckler and Keenan start. So
Yep.
I have a lot of teams like that, man. A lot of my Eckler teams, like that come from the 6th or 7th pick, it's like that's perfect range to get one of Keenan or Mike Will, and 4th round Herbert. It's just it builds itself.
Right here, I have a nice decision. I could go ETN. I could go Cortland Sutton.
Zeke, don't forget Zeke.
I'm not drafting Zeke. All right, I'm gonna go Sutton here.
Okay.
I don't have much exposure to Cortland Sutton. Obviously, his ADP has risen a little bit because of the Tim Patrick injury, but he should be, the clear-cut wide receiver 1 in that Broncos offense, and I think he's a fine pick. Interested to see where Herzig goes here. I preferably would like to get Hollywood on this bring back here over Terry McLaurin.
Mm.
But we'll see. I'll be fine with either one, though. Really need to stop building so wide receiver heavy off rip, but just like the star on full PPR sites. Yeah, I mean, having a core of Diggs, Debo, and Pittman is very, very good, in my opinion.
Yep. So it looks like Herzig is auto, right? Is that an auto?
He could be on auto potentially.
Why does Brown go so high? Well, I mean, he had a breakout year last year, and DeAndre Hopkins is suspended for 6 games. They really have nobody in their receiving core outside of Hollywood Brown at this point. He played with Kyler in college, so they've got a good chemistry. And other than that, they've got Rondale Moore, who's like 4'11". They've got AJ Green, who's 45 years old. Like Marquise Brown is going to absolutely smash for the first 6 weeks. And then DeAndre Hopkins comes back, coverage shifts, and I think that he smashes for the rest of the year too. We're all in on Hollywood this year.
Yeah. I like Hollywood for all of the reasons that you said. I think he's a high ceiling wide receiver in a range where there's a lot of running backs that are going that I'm not too interested in, especially in the running back dead zone, like Zeke, David Montgomery, Cam Akers. For me, I don't know how you feel about Cam Akers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's just a perfect wide receiver 3 for, a hero RB build like I'm kind of building over here, taking Swift, and then I'll probably wait until the 7th round or so to start drafting running backs again. And the ceiling is just extremely high. Kyler Murray, obviously, to start the season, no DeAndre Hopkins, and Call of Duty won't be out until October. So we got like 6 or 7 weeks of elite Kyler, and that's how long DeAndre Hopkins is out. So
it's like peak.
Hollywood is going to absolutely smash in the beginning of the year, and then he should be able to provide, some spike weeks at the end of the season when Kyler Murray inevitably starts grinding Modern Warfare 2 and he tries to become 10th prestige.
Yes, double XP weekends will absolutely be a factor for Kyler's fantasy projection this year.
And don't think that we're not going to be factoring that in, because we are 100% going to be factoring that into our personal projections.
Absolutely. He'll be unplayable after what is it, November 8th or something?
October 28th is when Modern Warfare 2 gets released.
Okay.
But then double XP weekends are just like random, I believe, after that.
Is that okay? I'm convinced. That's what we're here for. So I did end up going Herbert there, which leaves me a little weak at wide receiver, but luckily my favorite round 5 wide receiver is readily available for me in Darnell Mooney. I love it.
You like Mooney above Judy and Deontay and Chris Godwin and all these other guys?
I do. Yeah. I just think that the he's going to have such a dominant percentage of his team's targets, and he's a downfield threat. I think the receptions themselves come up, but I still think that he gets utilized deep down the field. And I mean, 25% target share is well within the range. In fact, that's what I would expect for him. They have no competition. Even Byron Pringle's like out now. So Mooney to the moon.
Yeah, I love Darnell Mooney this year. Like you said, he could definitely push 25+% in terms of target share. He was kind of already starting to become that target guy last year, even with Allen Robinson there. And, they downgraded at the position. They have N'Keal Harry, Velus Jones, and a bunch of other scrubs there now. So I don't think he is auto drafting. Those picks went pretty quick. Have you changed your stance on Elijah Moore?
A little bit. I mean, it'd be dumb not to like factor in, new information. And the information is that he's been the most dominant player at Jets camp and that he is the real deal. And that's how they view him. Also, I mean, not to say that I'm high on him, but I moved him way up in my rankings just so that I would get exposure. I don't want a full fade. I just, and I'm already going to be lower than exposure because I wasn't drafting him for my first 200 teams. So I'm just sprinkling him in now, just a little sprinkle here and there.
How do you feel about Deontay Johnson? Said he used to be a 3-4 turn guy, facts, and now he goes in the 5th round.
Almost got auto picked. Okay. Got Thielen, thank God. How do I feel about Deontay Johnson? I don't know. I don't know if the same like low A dot target volume is going to be there where he's just going to rack up so many targets and catches. But then again, maybe their new quarterback situation pushes the ball downfield so he could, be more efficient on like a yards per catch basis.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's okay, but I mean, we talked about this on a recent podcast, but I think that I see disaster as being well within the range for the Steelers offense,
Yeah, you said you liked the under 7 wins at plus money. You can get that right now on what, DraftKings?
I think it was plus 105 on DraftKings on like Wednesday when we talked about it. I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, how much credence do you give to the report that Mason Rudolph could potentially be the starting quarterback because Mitch and Kenny Pickett have been largely underwhelming?
I mean, I was listening to the Around the NFL podcast this week, and they're pretty sharp, and they're tuned in with like, insiders, and and they all agreed. All three of them said that they fully expect there to be 3 different starters for the Steelers this year at one point or another. And I think that makes sense. Like, I don't think Rudolph is like, he probably doesn't get 8 games, but does he get, 2 or 3? Wouldn't shock me at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, man, I think that this is a bad situation for the Steelers this year, just with the quality of the division going up. Obviously, the Watson stuff is heavily in limbo right now. So there's that. But, the Bengals are primed for, being having another contending season. And so are the Ravens, I think.
Yeah, I think there's a high probability that the Steelers finish last in the AFC North. And I think that there's a high probability that the Steelers offense just isn't great. Mitchell Trubisky, career bust. Eric just said Mason Rudolph probably shouldn't even be in the NFL. I'm surprised that he's still in the NFL, to be honest. He is so bad, but I could definitely expect him to make a start or two. And then Kenny Pickett is obviously a rookie, and there's a huge learning curve there. And he's probably not ready. He's been the 3rd string quarterback, actually, from what I've read on Twitter. And Mitch has been the QB1 and Mason Rudolph has been the QB2. So I do agree that all 3 of those guys are probably going to make starts this year. All right.
I'll be happy if they didn't. I'm not looking forward to seeing Mason Rudolph play.
Your pick coming up here, you can get some nice value on Dalton Schultz. I think that's pretty solid. 10 spots plus pass ADP. You could start going running back here.
No, I'll just take a couple picks of value on Kirk and just keep hammering receiver. honestly, dude, and I will. This seems like the perfect team to do it with. Is that I'm just coming around to a bunch of late round tight ends. Like if I miss out on like the Andrews, Waller, Kittle tier in these early rounds, I just think that there's a lot of guys late now that you can build super solid 3 tight end builds with.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I agree.
you know, and yeah, I'll save that till we get there because there's some names that we haven't even brought up yet that I've been drafting lately, but I'll save that for the end.
Yeah, and this is the spot of the draft where I'm going to target running backs once again, specifically pass catching running backs that I think have a pretty good chance to lead their team in targets at the position. So Chase Edmonds, definitely like him this year. I think that he's going to be kind of a big factor in that Dolphins offense out of the backfield. And then CEH, I mean, we've totally flip-flopped in terms of touting CEH. CEH is one of my highest owned running backs this year, and I think he is one of the best picks you can make in the 8th round. I love getting CEH in the 8th round, and yeah, he might not be that talented, but his cost has never been lower, and he just profiles as a running back archetype that you want to target in terms of cheap cost, pass catching upside, and a potential path to a 3-down role, in my opinion, at least.
No, and I do agree with you. I've played devil's advocate a lot and argued the other side of CEH, but I just checked. I've got 14%. He's my 9th highest owned running back right now. So I'm pretty heavily exposed. I'm exposed to all the Chiefs running backs though. I'll take DeAndre Hopkins as a wide receiver 5, especially for a team that, I waited on wide receiver, only had 1 through the first 4 picks. So give me some late season boost at the position. And I think my top 4 guys are pretty good as well. So like the texture of this team.
120 drafts, starts 5 backs and 1 wide receiver. You got to get unique. You got to get the 5 running back
That's
high
dead
T
team.
build.
Dead team.
I mean, what does he got? He's got DK and Russ. He's got the Tom Brady Russell Gage stack.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about it like that. Didn't even think about it like that.
Let's take a gander at your team. So you got the Herbert, Keenan stack, and Eckler. That's pretty solid with Aaron Jones. Yeah, I mean, you're kind of building a monster over there.
Low key.
Not high key.
Nah, well, we'll see what happens with these next 2 rounds. This thing might be a high key monster.
Some people you think are just trying to get different. Some just suck at drafting.
Yeah. Man, I feel like I messed up the other day. I had like this perfect opportunity. I reached on AJ Brown, right, in the 2nd round because I was trying to be different. I took him in the mid-2nd so that I could get a unique combination in the 3rd. And then T. Higgins fell like 7 spots past ADP, and I got him in the 3rd, and it was just a totally normal team. So like I totally burned that. I could have gotten a great value on Higgins and gotten unique that way, but I shot myself in the foot. It's a tough scene.
Yeah, but I mean, what if you don't draft AJ Brown there? What if T. Higgins doesn't fall? Everything has, a butterfly effect. Can't.
That is true.
If you don't draft AJ Brown there, maybe the draft goes differently. You'll never know.
It's a good way to think about it. Butterfly effect.
Every decision that you make in your life has an effect, good or bad. And everything you have done leads you up until this point to sitting and drafting best ball teams on YouTube. Usually
leads to more bad than good.
What do you guys think about Kareem Hunt? Brown said they're not trading Watson. I can't even talk. They're not trading him, but Watson is getting suspended, and they're paying Johnson around $2.7 million.
I mean, what do you think? What's your Kareem Hunt take?
I think that with Watson suspended, they're going to need as many good players on the field as possible to try and win games, and Kareem Hunt is one of their best players. That's how I personally view it. I think that sometimes you just have to view it from an NFL perspective. They want to win football games, and Kareem Hunt will help them win football games. That's a good question.
I don't know, man. I really don't.
Sitting here drafting, talking about strategy.
Having existential crisis. Go ahead.
Do you think there's less strategy involved in drafters than DraftKings and Underdog?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think it's different. Like,
because we don't talk about like strategy that much, but obviously, like we're stacking and correlating our rosters based off who we take and whatnot. But without playoff weeks, it's kind of just like
so I think
roster construction.
That whole part of it, like playoff weeks, and then like trying to stack week 17 and stuff like that, is a super interesting part of theory that is not in this format. That being said, I think it's harder to win on drafters than it is on Underdog. Like, I think it's harder to ship this tournament than it probably would be to ship a playoff format with the same amount of people, because you can just luck box, a certain couple of weeks to get there.
Yeah.
You don't have to have the best team in the tournament to win it, whereas you do in this. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that it's not like it's easy. I think it's just different.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's hard to win both, but in your opinion, you think it's harder to win a total points tournament out of 55,000 entries rather than a tournament format style tournament where you have to basically have a good enough team to get you into the top 2 spots and then run extremely good in the last 3 weeks of the year.
Yeah, and I don't just think that because I want it and want to make myself look better. That plays 0% of a factor into this.
Does it?
Let me get is this a good pick? Yeah, why not? Let me get MG3. Why not?
Yeah, no, I do agree that though. Like I do think that there's less strategy involved on drafters, for sure. But obviously you could still have an edge on the field just with simple roster construction, understanding player values and ADP and all of the good stuff that comes with doing a lot of drafts.
Mm-hmm.
So
running backs flying off the board. Hell yeah, they are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily love for your team having MG as your RB3.
What did you think about Chris Olave falling 10 picks past ADP to me?
I mean, that's a total smash. I got
my wide receiver 6.
Yeah, I got Sky Moore 10 picks plus ADP past ADP.
That's
as well.
That's gorgeous.
So yeah, on the last turn, I kind of reached on Rachaad White, as you could see here. Drafted him 9 spots above ADP, but like Eric said in the chat, the running backs are flying off the board. So I just kind of wanted to lock up what I think is a nice RB4 shot in Rachaad White before the running back value started to dry up. So I felt like reaching there was pretty necessary for my team.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a pretty big teardrop in running back coming soon. I've got 3 guys left that I would like to get here, one of the 3. And after that, it'll be wait until the end. I didn't get my Kareem Hunt take. I think he's gone. I think he's done zone Cleveland.
I mean, you've had that thought though for like 6 months now.
Yeah, that's why Dearness Johnson's my highest owned player, and I'm just trying to manifest that energy so that pays off for me. But I don't know. I mean,
Dearness is still one of the best picks, regardless.
Oh yeah.
Just from a process standpoint, Dearness has been one of the best late round running backs you could draft.
But if Hunt gets moved, okay, that's cash. We're cashing in right away.
Yeah, where do you think Dearness rises to if Kareem Hunt gets traded?
Probably this range.
130s?
Yeah. Like I'm about to take Hendo here. Yeah, I think
Would
he's right
you
in that
take
range.
Dearness Johnson over Darrell Henderson if Kareem Hunt gets traded?
Probably not.
That's the correct answer.
Probably not. Because without Watson, the Rams offense is just significantly better. But I mean, I would take him ahead of Pierce, who was the next running back off the board.
I'm going to try and get this nice Cole Kmet, Justin Fields stack off at a value. Yeah, I'll do that.
That's fire.
Cole Kmet, 7 picks past ADP. I can't do math. And Justin Fields, about a round past ADP. So get a nice stack, dual threat quarterbacks for my QB1 and QB2. I'm really liking this team. I'm drafting better than I did last week. Don't go back and watch the stream from last week.
Your team's banging right now.
I really like this team. But yeah, I think 130s, 140s is probably the correct range for Dearness Johnson if Kareem Hunt were to get traded, and that was kind of just the process and thesis of drafting Dearness Johnson. And I mean, you've been on it since the offseason, literally.
I have. I thought it would happen sooner. I thought it would be part of the Mayfield stuff, but it was not.
I told you that wasn't going to happen.
You did. Here I'm going to scoop QB2. Just give me Trevor.
Yeah.
Who knows? Stack it up with Kirk and that's that for quarterback for me.
Bat Queen just sniped Eric for his QB3 in this nice 3-5-3-1 build. I don't want to hammer a man while he's down. I don't want to kick a man while he's down, but
right.
This is just a prime example of how not to draft.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not that. That's a prime example of how to draft. It changes every pick. I wish that it didn't. But this is a prime example of how not to draft a best ball team.
Yeah. No, that is called being part of the rake. And it makes me very happy that he has 120 teams in this tournament. Hopefully they all look like that.
Do you think he's putting in 150 negative EV teams?
I mean, I haven't done that many drafts with him. I recognize the name, but
I don't think I've done one draft. I don't know that name.
But yeah, I mean, he's not making a great impression. He's not instilling me with confidence that he's putting monsters out there if this is what he's doing.
He's just trying to get different builds.
And he is succeeding because that shit is different.
Isn't that part of the best ball process is getting different builds and getting unique and different player combinations?
I mean, it is, but I think it's also becoming like a get out of jail free card. Like when you draft a shitty team, this is just a false narrative that has been brought about by big best ball, where it's like if you draft a complete trash team, I'm just getting different. No, dog, your team is ass.
Especially on drafters where it's total points. Like, do the unique combination? Like, I think they matter a little bit less on drafters.
Yeah. Give me Irv Smith here at 151, falling pat from his ADP of 134. That's a nice value.
Surprised you didn't go Ronald Jones there.
I'm done. I'm done with Rojo. He's not going to make the team. I already just lost a couple $100. I'm just chalking that up.
He said he's not going to make the team. He's not going to make the team now.
Nah. I went in the last 3 weeks. I've went from Ronald Jones is going to score 20 touchdowns this year to he's getting cut before September 1st. GG's.
Wide receivers are starting to go quick here.
Houston's got the inside info. He said he is getting different. His last draft I was with him and it turned out well built. Okay.
Should I draft Tim Patrick to get different?
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not.
I think there's a tier break after Hunter Henry, personally. So I'll take Hunter Henry as my tight end too. Definitely in a 3 tight end build for my specific team, but I like getting both of these guys at a value. Cole Kmet, Hunter Henry, both about 7 picks past ADP. So I love that value, and I'm definitely going wide receiver here. This is an interesting range where I don't really have like any what's the word for it? Like,
Conviction.
I don't have any stands. Yeah, I don't have any conviction on any of these players. Like
I
Nico
have
Collins, Jamison, George Pickens, etc.
I have some conviction that you need to adjust your rankings so you don't get auto picked Tim Patrick. Like you just got to go in your rankings and drop him down to 240. So that
Who's the pick here, Chad? Jamison or I think I have enough early season production to go Jamison here.
Jamison's a great player to pair with Marquise Brown, I think.
Yeah, I mean you've talked about that quite a bit in terms of pairings, in terms of players that are going to like play well
Yeah,
early in the season, and then some players that will come back later in the season.
yeah, I think I want to dive into that on a podcast this coming week. Just look at some of the early season schedules and try and look at that a little bit better and maybe get some more plus EV pairings for guys like Jamison, Hopkins, Gallup, to name a few. This is pretty easy for me here. Another screaming value, 12 picks past ADP, and it correlates with my quarterback, Gerald Everett. That is easy cash.
Eric still believes in Rojo. He just drafted him.
I hope you're right, bro. I really do.
Philly says Rodgers is struggling with no Adams, who's the best value in that offense. Camp reports are that Green Bay offense is in trouble. I mean,
The best receiver in that offense is Aaron Jones.
no cap.
Seriously, that's not even a
And
joke. But we talked about Dubes on podcast this week.
But did you see kind of the viral tweet about Packers wide receivers? Like over the last 5 years, there's been a breakout wide receiver that you need from Packers camp every single year, like Jake Kumaro and like 3 other guys, where it's like this dude went back and found all of the articles and took screenshots of people saying the exact same thing. So, I mean, obviously, people want pieces of that offense because it's still Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
But Aaron Jones is the best pass catcher on that team right now, in my opinion. And he should be drafted like he is. So,
boy, Chris Evans at 170. Sheesh.
Damn, you're dogging him.
I mean, I've never seen him go that high. Van Jefferson. I'm probably not going to be ready for week 1, buddy. I know it's possible Pacheco could smash, but it's got to be a low one. He averaged 3.1 yards per carry last year. He's a 7th rounder. I just can't get behind it. Yeah, but did you hear Andy Reid compare him to Kareem Hunt? There's no way that he would do that if he didn't mean it, right?
Absolutely, unequivocally, no shot that he would compare him to Kareem Hunt if he didn't truly believe it in his heart. Draft accordingly.
Paris Campbell, bang. God, I love my team.
Let's take a gander at your team. It's a pretty good team. Are you gonna? Oh, you got the Gerald Everett. So you got the nice triple stack going with Eckler, Keenan, and Gerald Everett.
Don't let Jalen Guyton fall to me late. Just don't do it.
Well, how many players do you think is too many from one team? I think I have an answer.
I think for most teams, the answer is probably like 3. I also think it's a cost thing, and I think that there are certain exceptions where, like with the Bills, Chargers, Chiefs, maybe Bucks, like I think that you could just get wild,
I'll go KB here.
I also think that on drafters, you can get paid off more from an entire team smashing than you can on underdog because you're more worried about how the team performs over the course of the year than you are on a week-to-week basis. So you're not capping your weekly upside as much.
Mm-hmm.
Or, well, you still are, but it's not as impactful. Like, you're not going to get knocked out of the tournament for one bad week if your team is going nuclear the other 16 weeks.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. My answer would have been 3 skill position players. I think anything more than 3 plus the quarterback is, putting too much exposure into one team.
Yeah.
See,
So I definitely agree. Like, I'm not targeting another Charger, but like, do you think that, like, what's the difference between Jalen Guyton in round 19 and, like, I don't know, anybody else, like Tutu Atwell? Like, does it matter what team they're on at that point? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, maybe. I don't know. This is the range where it's like, I don't want any of these running backs. So who should I look to for these next 4 rounds? Like, what running backs entice you the most in these late rounds besides Deontay Johnson?
I will answer you in one moment as I try and figure out what the fuck I'm gonna do with this pick. I will go. What are we at? 186. Shit. Okay. I'll take Hamler here.
Yeah, I see. Just mentioned Hamler. Guyton is the KJ Hamler in LA. It's a good comparison.
Yeah, no, I like that. So were you talking running back specifically here as your targets? Like, the guys I like in this range are...
Yeah, I just don't know what running backs to draft late.
So some of the guys that I moved up my rankings lately, Pacheco, obviously, I'm big onto that. Zamir White continues to fall. He's down all the way to 210. So I'm back in on him after taking a break. I like guys like Jeff Wilson, and then, I don't know. I'm just taking shots at guys in with potential paths to workloads like Snoop Connor, Benjamin. I don't know. Like, these aren't great picks, but
yeah, Mac Jones has so much potential, but Patricia is probably going to tank the offense this year. Can't believe he has a decision-making role. Yeah, it's probably pretty bad that he's in charge of
that's
the
another
offense.
That's another anti-Mac argument.
As you can see, got a Patriots blanket. I got 2 actually.
Got a nice. Your bed's all nice and made,
bro. I make my bed every morning. You have to. The Ohio State banner is not mine. I don't like Ohio State. That college diploma is mine though. So
you better take that Ohio State down, dog. What you still repping that for,
bro? You don't even watch college.
That's where Fields played, right?
Yeah,
makes sense for the team you're drafting at least.
Right. Yeah, got Justin Fields. I got I'm pretty sure Curtis Samuel went to Ohio State. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. I think he went to Ohio State. 90% positive. Jamison Williams was at Ohio State for a year, I think, a year or 2. He transferred because he couldn't get on the field. Got a couple of Ohio State guys on this team.
The Ohio State. Mac Jones
I'm a
is
Penn
about
State fan, so I gotta go. I'm not an Ohio State fan. I barely watch college football.
Penn State. It's where KJ Hamler's from.
Yeah.
Damn. Mac Jones, 30 picks past ADP.
Yeah, I would have.
Don't need a QB3.
Oh, I thought he was gone. I was gonna say you gotta let him fall to me. No cap.
Neither of us need a QB3 in this.
I think my team
builds
can definitely have a quarterback 3. I think it'd probably be bad for your team.
Well, it's a non-issue because Houston took him. So,
oh, come on, Houston, you gotta let him fall, bruh. Took an unstacked Mac Jones. Come on, man, that's dirty. That is dirty.
Hey, I mean, you can take any player 30 picks past ADP, and it's a good pick. I don't give a shit who it is.
Nah, you're right. You're right.
Give me Cedric.
That's why I'm taking fucking Dearness Johnson if Eric doesn't take him right here.
Bro, you're going to take Dearness?
Of course.
You're not letting him fall back to me?
Absolutely no shot. Who took Zamir White?
Pluston.
Eric just took, Benjamin. Yeah, I'm taking Dearness here. That's an easy smash.
Is that your last running back?
Nah.
You going 6 here? So your team's interesting because I think that you could stop at 5 running backs with these guys, but you don't have to. I also think you could stop at 2 tight ends, but you don't have to. Like,
yeah,
you could go in whatever direction you want with these last 3 picks.
I went wide receiver heavy early, so I think for my team, it'd be the capital would be better spent getting a tight end 3 and a running back 6. So here I'm going to draft Brian Robinson, a guy that could potentially score, 5-6 touchdowns. They said he could have a goal line role potentially over Antonio Gibson. So if Robinson gets that goal line role, maybe the touchdown upside is higher than a lot of these other running backs. And I think he's a fine RB6. I think that there's actually a good amount of pass to him paying off this value.
Sounds about right to me.
And then for my next 2 picks, I will take a tight end 3, and then I will debate between a quarterback 3 and a wide receiver 9.
Pacheco.
Eric said that he wanted Dearness on the way back. Yeah, that wasn't happening. No shot.
I should have just taken that. Shoulda, coulda, didn't.
Who's the Elijah Mitchell of this year?
Isaiah Pacheco. Say it with
Well,
me.
he's getting drafted.
I mean, he only just started getting drafted. And I probably just took him the highest he's gone. Like, sometimes he still falls to 19 or 20. But, yeah, I mean, let me scroll deep down this running back list. Could it be Caleb Huntley, undrafted for the Falcons, has been making some noise? Cordero Patterson has... I mean, they basically already said he's not going to get a full workload this year. I know they have the other rookie that they brought in.
They just strictly need to use CPAT as a wide receiver. Like, obviously give him some running back touches, but use him as a pass catcher out of the backfield. That's the best way to use him. And then you'll have like a pretty solid trio in terms of pass catchers and Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and CPAT if they utilize everybody in the way that they should be utilized, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not horrible.
No, I mean, obviously Mariota's the problem there, but just pure pass catchers, like, it's not that bad at all.
I've kind of changed my stance on Kyle Pitts. Obviously, earlier in the offseason, he was one of our fades, but the opportunity is going to be crazy. Obviously, generational talent. And Marcus Mariota, I mean, he did give Delaney Walker like an 1,100-yard season, 10 touchdowns or so, like in his first year in Tennessee, or in his first 2 years. I think Delaney Walker was one of the best tight ends in the NFL. So it's definitely possible that Kyle Pitts smashes this year. ADP is obviously extremely high, but he's a player that could potentially go where Kelsey and Mark Andrews are going next year.
Without a doubt.
And
easily.
He could be a player that's going there for the rest of his career, especially if the Falcons suck and they get a top quarterback prospect next year. There's a couple coming out, and Bryce Young, who plays for Alabama, CJ Stroud plays for Ohio State, and then you have a couple other guys. I think the Florida quarterback is one of them. I think there's another name that I'm forgetting, but I'm not drafting Thorin, Eric. I'm good on that. God, I don't know. I'm gonna get autoed.
Guyton.
No, I need a tight end 3. I'll take Kyle Rudolph. Maybe he scores a touchdown or 2. Pitts sucks, Bob says. Fair enough.
Can't argue with that. Yo, you got to get back on the DPJ, Donald Parham Jr. train. He supposedly had a huge role with them, and I mean, I took Everett on this team, but like, what if it just doesn't happen for Gerald Everett? Like, I bought into the hype twice now, and it didn't pay off. This is round 3, and maybe he just can't hold a candle to former XFL legend Donald Parham, and maybe Parham's the answer all along in the 20th round. Everett can't catch yet. I mean, what if Everett is just Evan Ingram? Like, has all the tools, but just can't put it together. Seems like that's probably more likely than not at this point. It's not like he was in a bad offense last year when he failed. Like, he was, attached to Russell Wilson.
I almost just choked that fucking pick. I do have to move Tim Patrick down, but I was trying to, if you want a nice sleeper wide receiver for anybody drafting, Tyron Johnson for the Raiders.
Tyron Johnson?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
I don't know too much about him.
Trust. Take him right here. Last pick. Parham got hurt the other day. Is this facts? Is this factual information?
I fucking hope not. Injured his leg during Saturday's practice. All right. Ignore everything I just said. I have no Buffalo Bills on this team. Let's fix that with their cheapest asset, Khalil Shakir. How bad is this Parham injury?
Who knows?
He injured his leg. What does that mean? There's a lot of leg on a human being. How bad?
Who knows? Damn, nobody's drafting Tyron Johnson. Come on, man. Tyron Johnson's a better pick than Jawan Jennings.
Yeah, see, I missed that, but I missed that he hurt himself, but I didn't miss the Roto World blurb from the Athletic saying it's clear that he'll be a prominent piece of the Chargers' downfield passing attack. That was enough to get me going on Parham. Best late round pick is Giovanni Bernard. Don't sleep. Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
I think I have a sneaking suspicion that Bop might just be a stone cold troll. Is that true?
Probably. All right. Let's take a gander at your team.
I mean, what you're taking a gander at is $250,000, my friend.
I mean, if this one's $250K, you got to put some respect on your name.
I mean,
this is a very good team.
Thank you. I think this team is super solid. This is the type of team that I want to have out of the middle spots.
Yeah.
I love getting the 2 running backs, which puts you in, a position to only have to draft 5. You can usually get a top tier quarterback in that range, whether it's, Herbert in the 4th or very often, Lamar or Mahomes will fall to you in the 5th and you can make that pick. And then you just hammer receiver in the mid rounds, couple mid round tight ends. I got great value on my tight ends. Actually crazy value with Irv falling 15 picks, Gerald Everett falling 10 picks. This is going to be a unique team just off of those ADP values. So yeah,
I definitely like your team. I think obviously you kind of need Thielen and Christian Kirk and, Chris Olave to work out, especially with DeAndre Hopkins missing the first 6 weeks of the year. So I think that could really just be the problem for this team. And then obviously tight end is just a crapshoot. It's like you're just drafting 3 and hoping that you get a touchdown out of one of them every week, or 8 points, 10 points.
Pretty much. Much.
So yeah, I do like this team. I do think that the concern is those mid-round wide receivers, though, because I think there are paths to like Adam Thielen and Christian Kirk not paying off their ADPs. Half serious, half troll. Never let them know your next move. I respect it.
Yeah, I mean, that hits deep for me. I'm the same way.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of we troll a little bit. We don't take anything serious. It's
I mean,
bad and good.
you've accused me of just being like a permanent troll in
I
life
mean,
in all
you're just
aspects.
a walking bit. It's that simple.
That's so disrespectful, but I can't even argue
How's
it.
that disrespectful
I'm
if
a
it's
walking
true?
bit. No, I'm authentic, and I mean every fucking word I say to the fullest.
Eric said he hates zero running back builds. I mean, his team is never draft running backs. So you're kind of living up to your build here. But yeah, if Zeke does go down, I mean, Tony Pollard is an absolute smash. Obviously, Zeke has kind of been an Iron Man throughout his entire career and has hardly ever missed games besides that suspension that he had way back when. But nonetheless, I still think this is how you want to construct zero RB teams. You know, you get your tight end early. You only have to take two. You get your high upside quarterback and Jalen Hurts. You know, your wide receivers, whatnot. Sucks that you didn't get Tua. That's brutal.
That is brutal.
But with zero RB, I think taking 7 of these guys, you're just taking shots, and some of them will provide value. Some of them definitely won't. But construction wise, I like the team, and overall, I think it's a pretty good zero RB team.
Yeah, I mean, probably could have gone Tua, before that turn. It was 129. That's fair value for him. And just with your team, like if Tyreek and Waddle are both hitting and this is a contending team, I think it's worth reaching a couple picks on Tua just to make sure you get him, because the only way this team is making noise is if he is a good pick in that range, right? So
yeah. So I mean, he got drafted. Tua got drafted right here. Was that right after him, or
right,
before?
it was right before. So I would have gone Tua instead of Pierce,
and then probably could have got Pierce on the bring back.
right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
yeah,
nonetheless,
makes a ton of sense.
Super solid.
Go to my team.
Let's see what you're cooking with. Is this better than last week's team? What do we think?
I mean, this is
clear cut.
This is clear cut.
No, this is nice.
This is a fucking banger team.
Yeah.
No cap.
Yeah.
I think this is really how I personally like to build all of my teams. I like getting an upside quarterback at the top and then a quarterback 2 that has, that potential quarterback 1 upside on a weekly basis. And I think Justin Fields fits that mold. And then getting him at value is just chef's kiss.
Yeah. Not to mention the Cole Kmet value for the stack. Beautiful.
Yeah. Cole Kmet value, Hunter Henry value, Kyle Rudolph value. Just a very good or very well constructed team, in my opinion. And this is how I want to build. I want to get just guys that I think are going to be difference makers in terms of pass catching upside at the running back position. And the draft fell perfectly for me, where I got, in my opinion, at least 4 that could potentially be difference makers. Probably 3. Who knows how Rachaad White's going to play out. But Swift, Edmonds, and CEH, I think, all have 60, 70 plus catches in their range.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, DeAndre Swift does, but I think Edmonds and CEH do as well. And then wide receiver.
How many catches are in CEH's range?
I think 60 on a good year for CEH. I think 60 is well within the range if he stays healthy. Probably not, though. I think he'll probably finish with around like 40 or 45.
Yeah.
If we're shout out Herzig, ETR. If you're looking at ETR's projections, they'll probably have him projected for like 35 or 40. I don't know. I don't have the projections. That's just a guess. But I think on at the top of his range, I think he could hit 60.
I mean, if he hit 60, he's fucking obliterating his ADP.
Yeah. Obviously, it's very unlikely. I'm not saying he will, but I'm saying in terms of probability, there's a chance that he could. And then wide receiver, I mean Lamb,
Sky Moore 107.
Lamb, Sutton, Hollywood, Elijah Moore, Sky Moore got the Moore brothers. They're not actually brothers, but Jamison, late season rookie upside if he works out. McKinnon will have more catches. That's definitely well within the range as well. Definitely, for sure. But I really like this team.
No, it's a great team. I'm glad you bounced back after last week.
Yeah, last week was rough. All right. Got a couple more teams that we could look at. Zach, Houston. Let's go in order here with Zach. Zach went with the Chiefs.
2-5-11-2 build.
2-5-11-2. He went with the Mahomes to Juju. I love that. Dalvin, Saquon, great start at the running back position, and a bunch of wide receivers just taking as many chances as possible. And then Dalton Schultz and Mike Gesicki at tight end. I personally like this team.
I think that this team is super solid. Your issue or the thing that I would be worried about is just running backs past Barkley gets a little bit sketchy. I mean, I've kind of come around to Penny. I think the workload should be there for him, especially earlier in the year, and he should have a good chance to hold on to that workload if he does well with it, like he did at the end of last season. But Pierce, Ingram, that's a bit sketchy. But I might have taken an RB6 instead of an 11th receiver. But I mean, it's like fragile, but the upside is there. And if Cook and Barkley smash, you're sitting pretty. And, can't be upset with the nice Mahomes Juju stack. Like, that's, man.
Yeah. Obviously, running back, I think, or depth at the running back is the problem with this team. And I definitely agree that I would have taken an RB6 over another wide receiver just because in terms of the wide receivers that you have at the top of your roster, Zach, they're probably going to be making your lineup a majority of the time, and these late round guys aren't providing value, whereas running backs obviously get hurt pretty much every week in the NFL, and you can capitalize on one of the late round running backs if they get injured, and then you have two players with the same bye out of your five with Saquon and Tyrion Davis-Price. So, in week 9, like Cook, Penny, and Mark Ingram, Penny gets hurt, you're down to Cook and Mark Ingram, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every week matters. So just simple shit like that.
Sorry, real quick. I just don't want to miss the marketing opportunity. Yes, we do this every Sunday at noon Eastern. Best Ball Brunch. Tune in.
Yes. But
sorry.
But anyways, but other than that, good team.
Houston, good team, Zach.
I mean, Houston has a bad team because he sniped Mac Jones for me. Period.
I mean,
No, it's just because he sniped Mac Jones. I can't talk about his team. He took Mac Jones from me.
He did.
That was dirty.
Did. I mean, then again, you could have taken him 2 rounds earlier and it's still been a value.
No, that's fair.
we did wait 30 picks for somebody to grab him, but that's solid, especially for Houston. Like that's super clutch because with Kirk and Matt Ryan, you probably need a third quarterback with that build. So when one just gets dropped into your lap, 30 picks past ADP, you got to smash that.
You got to take that.
I mean, I'm a little concerned about like if this team has the total points upside at running back to get there, because I don't know how many like monster games can come out of this squadron, especially if JK starts on the PUP, although there was a positive report about him, so we'll talk about that during the week. They said they're going to reevaluate him on Monday, so we might actually get some solid news on JK Dobbins' timetable this week, which will be good. But I don't know. I mean, is there enough ceiling at running back, do you think, on this team?
I think there is, especially if Ramondre Stevenson works out.
Mm-hmm.
And then he took shots on Isaiah Spiller, Jerick McKinnon, Donta Foreman, all guys that could potentially become fantasy contributors with injuries. And that's really what you're doing past a certain point in the draft, like 11th round on. You're drafting running backs where they might have some weekly value, but their value is really going to come due to an injury.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that those are 3 guys that could definitely get a boost for sure. Obviously, I personally stay away from David Montgomery and J.K. Dobbins. I just don't like that range. But when you go wide receiver heavy early and you get Diggs, Debo, Pittman, Terry McLaurin, Drake London, I think it's fine.
Dobbins also, I mean, good value. We got him over a round after ADP, so
which makes it way better. So if he didn't go wide receiver early, I wouldn't really like this team, but I think this team is pretty solid in terms of construction. And I mean, Houston and these other guys in the Discord, like they're building well constructed teams pretty much every single draft. So, yeah, I mean,
it's a super solid team. I like it.
Just there's a lot of floor, and I think the ceiling is still pretty high that it could potentially make some noise.
Trey Quinn, Houston. What's up with that?
I don't even know who the fuck that is.
Yeah, me neither. Hit me. Put me on. I'm keeping that.
My guy yourself. Pluston, 69 drafts deep.
This is his 69th draft. Oh, we need a sound drop for that, like some applause.
Or like a moan.
Or a moan. Applause followed by a moan. I'm gonna make that a sound drop. It'll be in the bank next week.
There's a sound drop.
For a moan?
No. No.
That was kind of sensual.
Is there a clap? There's gotta be a clap.
I don't even know where you're looking at. That's the music I put on when I'm about to get 69. Never mind. Let's focus on this team. Pluston, what do we got? 3-6-8-3. Looking like a pretty heavy Broncos onslaught with Russ, Javonte, Judy, and Greg Dulcich late. I mean, I'll say the one thing that stands out to me on this team right away is that, I mean, I'm personally never taking a third tight end in a Kyle Pitts build. Like, you're spending a top 30 pick on Kyle Pitts. Like, if he's hitting, you don't need three, especially like what's Conklin going to do? But I get it. It's a stack with Zach Wilson. This is a really well correlated team. I mean, I've been in tons of drafts with Plus, and I know that he's super sharp, and that it shows really well on this team. He onslaughted Denver, like I said. He's got Wilson, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, and Tyler Conklin for a Jets onslaught, and then Marcus Mariota with Kyle Pitts for the Falcons stack. Super well correlated, well constructed team.
Triple stack, you can never go wrong with the triple stack.
I mean, I love it. It's like looking at art. It's a piece of art.
Yeah, no, very well constructed team. I like it quite a bit. And I'll play devil's advocate. I do think that even if you draft Kyle Pitts or Travis Kelce or Mark Andrews, you could still take a tight end 3 and 20 round formats, because the data and the numbers do show that a tight end 3 is more valuable than a wide receiver 10 or wide receiver 11.
What would you say about a wide receiver 9 though? Because he only has 8 on this team, and yeah. I think that that's what I would do, and it could have been Conklin or Mariota that I would have swapped out for another wide receiver. I mean, I think with Russ you can go 2 QBs, and I think with Pitts you can go 2 tight ends. So I just would have liked one more wide receiver on this team, because obviously Chase, Judy, Devontae, you're good, but you need a lot of stuff to break right. With like Rondale, Wilson, Jahan Dotson, David Bell, like those guys are all relatively thin, but the upside is there, and obviously we are gunning for first, so ceiling is all that matters. He said agreed, but if my second tight end was better, I would have gone to. That is fair.
I still think it's fine to go with 3 tight ends, and personally I think I would have sacrificed Mariota in that stack for another wide receiver if I had to choose one.
Yep. Is there? Oh yeah, I see.
Last team, I see drafted out of 2 spot. Got to scroll down because I see he went with what, the
2-7-9-2 build.
Yep. So he only went 2 tight ends with Kittle. Think that's fine. Obviously, we just talked about that. Do you think Trey Lance is a 2 quarterback build?
I think it can go either way. I think that for myself, I'm probably not drafting him like this, where like he's, the way that I see drafted him is like he's going to be a top 5 quarterback, but you do have to draft as if you're right. So I mean, I'm not critiquing, I'm just thinking out loud, but like I think that I would probably want another quarterback a little bit earlier with Trey Lance, like
Yeah, he just said where he's being drafted, he needs to be a 2 quarterback build.
yeah, and that's the thing. It can be
because he's getting drafted in this range of Hurts, Mahomes or whatever. Well, not in that range, but close enough to where, yeah, you're probably right. He's a 2 quarterback guy at that point.
but there's enough risk, I think,
I
that
think
you
there
want
is.
a better quarterback too. It isn't that I don't think he can be part of a 2 quarterback build. It's just that I don't want to wait all the way until Baker Mayfield to be that quarterback too. I would want somebody like, like Joey was talking about, like Fields or like Trevor or Tua, somebody like that, just with a little more upside.
Is Trey Lance the riskiest quarterback in this like 55 to 75 range?
Some people would say it's Jalen Hurts, but I think it's either Hurts or Lance, because they're the two that we have real life questions about how good they are. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
But they also have the dynamic abilities that we look for in quarterbacks, where like their rushing can be a huge factor.
Yeah, Eric said he thinks it's Hurts that's the riskiest. I think Hurts.
I think they're very similar, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think they're like very comparable prospects, just for what we could expect their ranges to be this year.
I think Hurts, though, showed enough last year, and he showed enough ceiling that he's less risky than Trey Lance, just because there is, some previous production to go back and look on and say, like, yeah, Hurts can do this. Whereas with Trey Lance, there's only, 2 games of sample size, and just the overall question marks about how good of a passer is he going to be year one. Obviously, that's the question marks around Jalen Hurts as well. But Jalen Hurts is going, 12, 13 picks above Trey Lance, which I think is correct. And I think that there's a higher chance that the Eagles throw the ball more than the 49ers. But
I think Lance is surrounded by
better talent.
Better talent and a coach that knows how to put his players in position to succeed.
But they're very similar teams, though. They are very similar. Like, because Jalen Hurts still has A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, George Kittle, and Trey Lance has Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle, right?
Yeah.
So very similar. And Jalen Hurts.
And they're both going to be run first teams if they have it their way. Yeah, no, it's definitely.
They're very similar teams in very similar situations.
Also, the last thing I want to say before we move on from Trey Lance, this is becoming a full Trey Lance discussion, but like IC's point about him, where he's being drafted, that he needs to be a 2 quarterback build. He's going around where like we were taking Herbert last year, and my team that won had 3 quarterbacks, even with Herbert in that range. So I don't think that it's necessarily true that because he's being drafted in the 6th, 7th round that you have to go to.
It's a fair point. But other than that, I think his team is pretty solid for a 0 RB team.
I mean, those receivers are fucking lethal.
Yeah. Literally.
Oh my
disgusting.
God. Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans, AJ Brown, Allen Robinson, that
George Kittle.
Oh, it's just sent a shiver down my spine.
That's disgusting. Jesus. And then AJ Dillon, James Cook, Damian Harris, I think are all pretty solid 0 RB guys. Then Hines, Gainwell, Algier, Chris Evans. I think this is a very good 0 RB team. I think really the only question mark is quarterback. Obviously, if you're drafting Trey Lance that high, like you said, you're expecting him to work out, and he should smash. But Baker Mayfield as quarterback too is definitely concerning. And I think I probably would have drafted a 3rd quarterback on this team instead of, Chris Evans 26 spots ahead of ADP.
Yep. That's my only critique, but overall it's a monster team, just for the wide receivers. That's everybody, right? If you're in the
no, that's everybody.
All right. Actually, real quick, can I just see what Herzig's team looks like? I'm curious. I've seen a lot of his underdog teams. I don't know what his vibe is over here on
I mean, he was drafting.
He was drafting. This is 2783. Okay, Allen and Tannehill. He's got both tight ends stacked with Knox Hooper. Got Noah Fant in there. Najee Etienne. I mean, okay. Real recognize real. I don't need to give a full team review, but
Is there a better contingent running back over Dylan? Probably not.
it's like
Probably
him and
not.
Pollard. Him and Pollard are just the two.
Aaron Jones and Zeke go down.
But I think Dylan is better because he's going to get more work on a week-to-week basis than Pollard will. At least
and more goal line opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, they're talking about like Dylan and Jones being 50-50 in terms of actual rush attempts, which, I mean, I could absolutely see that. Like, I think Dylan is probably getting 10 to 12 touches per week, you know?
And then if Aaron Jones goes down, Dylan can play in the pass game pretty well. We saw that last year.
He had like a 6-catch game, right?
Yeah, we played him a couple times on DraftKings, and the 2 or 3 weeks where Aaron Jones missed, and he had like 4 catches, 6 catches, or something like that in both games. So he could play well in the passing game. And yeah, AJ Dillon and Tony Pollard. If Zeke and Aaron Jones were to go down this year, I mean, they're RB1s in my opinion.
Need to have them.
So yeah, I mean, they're worth drafting just based on that alone. But shout out to Eric, great stream, thanks. Yeah, I think everybody drafted a pretty good team in this stream, but
yeah, I mean, that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen when we send out the bat signal in Discord. It's just like, all right, all the sharps come through, make this one difficult for us. But that, I'd rather never want it to be another way. I want it to be hard. Make me
Stevenson will smash if Harris were to go down, but other than that, they're gonna split for sure. That's why I still think Damian Harris is a pretty solid pick because his touchdown upside is still, in my opinion, extremely high. He's probably going to be the goal line back, but I don't think he's going to have like the total goal line and red zone role like he kind of did last year. I think Stevenson will split in more.
Think
for
so?
sure. Yeah, but we all know how Bill Belichick views fantasy. Did you see that? That was pretty funny. He was like, he basically said, I don't give a fuck about fantasy football, which is how they all feel. But
yeah, except for Austin Eckler, man. Shout out
Austin Eckler. And shout out to Miles Sanders for telling us to not draft him.
Yeah, no, I do appreciate
we love self-aware players.
Speaking of, I mean, I guess the stream is over, but what else are we going to be doing all day? Cooper Kupp, did you see he ranked the top 5 wide receivers in the league and didn't put himself on the list? That is alarming.
That's pretty alarming.
I mean,
but okay.
I think that's just like OD being humble, right? Like, that to me, that's different than like not having confidence in yourself. I think he's just trying to come across as a good guy and
super humble
and prop up his brothers. But
whereas the correct 101 in terms of wide receivers is coming out and saying that he's the best wide receiver in the NFL, saying he's going to be the first wide receiver to go for 2,000 yards and he's going to smash every record. Yeah, he's just being humble. Yeah, he's just being humble, but still, I think
we always say, you can't trust somebody who doesn't trust themselves.
Facts.
I mean, his list is kind of chopped, though.
Yeah, what's his list? I didn't even see that.
All right, so Adams, Jefferson, Diggs, Jamar Chase. This is in no order. It's just his top 5, but he gets a little off the board. Number 5 is Odell Beckham.
Okay. The only thing that I will say, and then we can end the stream or whatever, is from a production and last year's standpoint, he was the best, but you can make the case from a raw talent perspective currently right now that those top 4 guys are better than Cooper Kupp. Like, if you're drafting a team right now, you are taking all 4 of those guys above Cooper Kupp based on raw talent. I said the top 4. I didn't. Okay. I said top 4.
Okay. Yeah. No. I mean, I agree.
In terms of raw talent. So It's just all about how you evaluate wide receivers, and then you could throw like Tyreek Hill in there, Deebo Samuel. So yeah, there is a case to be made that he's not a top 5 wide receiver in terms of just pure raw athletic talent in the league, because there are some freaks of fucking nature like Jamar Chase. Chase is the best, better than Justin Jefferson, than that Eric said, and I agree with that. I think Jamar Chase is a better wide receiver. I mean, he's shown it throughout like their prospective career so far. Like Jamar Chase was the best wide receiver at LSU. He had a better rookie season than Justin Jefferson. He's CD tier if we include talent. Yeah. Like if we take away last year, are you putting him in your top 5 wide receivers? No. Like going
Yeah.
into the season, he was in nobody's top 5. Obviously,
Yeah, I mean,
production matters, but
if we just pretend that the greatest wide receiver season of all time never happened, then yeah, it does change things just a smidge.
I mean, yeah, but I'm just saying in terms of talent, he wasn't in anybody's top 5. Does one great season make you a top 5 talent? That's the question you have to ask yourself.
We'll see, but you're thinking of talent from like a physical perspective. But in this
Yeah,
article, what Cup is saying is, the thing that I found a way to do is I found a way to be smarter than people, process things quicker.
Oh, mental talent.
And his mental talent mixed with, the physical, being at enough of a physical tier to get it done. I don't know. Maybe he's like a Brady type, right? Like he could be like a Brady of wide receivers where a lot of it is mental. He's not going to be Lamar Jackson, most
Or
athletic
Aaron
player
Rodgers
on the field.
or Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen.
Right. But
He
mentally,
he's the best.
That might be the
talent
vibe.
is subjective. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is.
It is.
Yeah.
I think that's a good note to end things on, man. I really appreciate everybody. That was a super dope super dope stream. That was fun. And we will, of course, be back next Sunday with another best ball stream. 3 podcasts dropping this week, at least. It's grind time. It's August, month away from the season.
Something in the works.
Mad shit in the works.
Soon.
Exciting announcements
Behind the
coming out, man.
scenes.
Yup. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching on replay and you're still watching, just shout out to you. Like the video, sub to the channel, and we'll talk to you guys next week.